This is one of the most seafood-centric towns I have ever seen. It seems like every restaurant along the harbor here is just selling seafood. This area is a peninsula that is still technically within Shenzhen. However, despite it being in Shenzhen, it still took me about 3 hours to get over here from Hong Kong. This is a part of Shenzhen I have wanted to visit for the last year. This area frequently showed up on my social media as a seafood and resort town, and I finally made the long journey to get over here. After a roughly 2-hour trip from Hong Kong, I made it over to the ferry terminal in Yantian, where I boarded and took an hour-long ferry ride over to Nan'ao. What was funny was that I had the entire ferry to myself, as I was somehow the only person on the boat during the afternoon departure. That hour-long ferry ride that I just got off of cost me 80 RMB. Seems like they raised the price for this ferry ride because when I looked on Xiaohongshu, it said it was only 50 RMB, but no, it's 80 RMB. You can also take a bus to get into this region, but I heard the bus can take longer if there's heavy traffic. So in addition to the seafood, this peninsula has one of the most well-preserved 14th century fortresses. So that's the ultimate goal of today's video. I want to go explore that old fortress. My hotel is actually on the opposite side of the peninsula in an area called Dapeng. Right now I'm in Nan'ao, and I want to explore this area a little bit before I head over to the other side. As I walked along the sidewalk, fishing boats and endless seafood restaurants lined the path, highlighting the significance of the seafood industry in the region. While things might seem somewhat empty here, the Mid-Autumn Festival is fast approaching, and it is one of those holidays where everyone goes out to travel. I have strategically planned my trip over here about a week before the Mid-Autumn Festival because I know that once the holiday comes around, this place is going to be packed with people. The area in front of me has a lot of really cool hotels and homestays, including one known as the Santorini Resort. It was a little bit pricey and it was on the opposite side of the island, so I didn't book this one this time, but I do plan to come back to it in a future video to check it out. Seeing all these unique hotels, I can't help but feel like I've somehow ended up in a small coastal European town. The air smells like salt, the roads curve along the sea, and these homestays, or villas as they call them, have that same laid-back charm you'd find somewhere along the Mediterranean. So up ahead over there, they have some massive construction going on. I don't know if what they're building is a hotel or if it's a shopping mall, but whatever it is, it's massive. Well, to be honest, guys, I don't think there is a whole lot to do over here. I might be missing the main area of the town. I think I'm just gonna call a taxi and head over to my hotel. It's about 8 kilometers from here on the other side of the peninsula. That area, I know for sure, will have a lot more interesting things to see. So I got dropped off at like this parking lot, and it seems like to get to my hotel, I have to wander through this village. I think this is like a car-free village or something. When I got off the boat in Nan'ao, I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't have a video, but now that I've got over here to Dapeng, there's actually so much to do and see over here. Unfortunately, the weather is looking really bad. They've raised a typhoon warning, so I don't think I'm going to be able to enjoy any water sports out here, but it looks like they do have jet skis available, and they have some like interesting watercraft over there that you can rent. Seems like a really nice place to come and enjoy water sports, and I can guarantee you it's probably a lot cheaper than what you would have to pay if you were to do the same thing in Hong Kong. This whole area feels like a resort town that just kept expanding. Almost every building you walk past is either a homestay, a restaurant, or a coffee shop, each one with its own look and vibe. Some places feel local and homey, others feel like they belong on a beach in Bali. It's the kind of place where you could spend an afternoon wandering from one place to the next, not really doing much, just enjoying the rhythm of the town. So right behind me is the Chanli Boutique Hotel. I got this place for about $77 a night. Let's go see the inside, see if it was worth the money. 你好。帮你入住是吧？入住。好的，您的证件。说一下那个阳台门，它是可以打开的，但只是很重，要用很大的力气。哦。是可以打开的。哦，好的，好的。好的。OK。我随时都在，就在楼下。有事情可以直接下楼找我。好，可以啊，谢谢呀。不用。Alright, well, so far this room isn't too bad. I guess it's not the upper floor unit like I thought, but it does have a decent view of the ocean. I guess we could check out the balcony real quick. Let's see. Wow, she wasn't lying. Very hard to open. Wow. Oh, look at these light switches. Those are cool. Quite spacious, relatively clean. It has a very square toilet. I'm quite satisfied with the hotel actually. I do think it was worth the price. It's got a pretty nice room, got a really great view. it was pouring rain over here just a second ago. I got stuck in my hotel for a little bit. It's just barely stopped raining, so I think people are just barely starting to come outside again. There's no shortage of hotels in this village. I feel like every building that I'm passing by is kind of like an Airbnb homestay type thing. Looks like they're even building some newer development over here. So in this area, you've sort of got two different attractions. That side over there where I'm staying, this is the side closer to the ocean. This is where all the hotels are. And then on the opposite side, this is where the Dapeng Fortress is located. This village side is quite a contrast from the resort side on the opposite side of the street. This part of Dapeng feels a lot more local. The kind of place where people still know their neighbors, where laundry hangs out between the buildings, and where life moves at its own pace. You'll still find a few homestays tucked into the alleys, but instead of standing out, they blend right in with the village. It's quieter and more personal here. This side still feels lived in, like the Dapeng that existed long before the tourists showed up. This is no ordinary village though. It's hiding an 800-year-old fortress that was once the front line of China's coastal defenses. Built back in 1394, these stone walls were constructed to keep pirates at bay. Over time, especially during the Ming Dynasty, it became a major naval and coastal defense base, with roles tied to regional defense including some connections to the history of nearby Hong Kong. The fortress covers an area of around 110,000 square meters and retains many original military-style features, walls, gates, barracks, and residences of military officials. Today, it's both a living village and a protected heritage site. I felt like I was wandering around this village aimlessly for a little bit. There's so many turns and corners and alleys in here. It's really easy to get lost. It's actually quite amazing to see how well preserved this place is. In between some of these old houses, they have these newer renovated shops. It kind of creates a really cool vibe in this fortress where you get to experience both the old and the new at the same time. The more I travel around China, the more I realize how endless this place really is. I've been living here for about 2 years now, and somehow I keep finding places like this, each one completely different from the last. What's even crazier is that most of what I've shown on my channel so far is all just within Guangdong Province. And China, it's massive. There's still so much more to explore. I've started making a few trips outside of Guangdong, but if you want to see more of that, more stories, more hidden places, your support really makes a difference. Every comment, like, or subscription helps me keep doing this and reach more parts of China that I've only dreamed of visiting.
这个是哪一个面？
对，
这个柠檬的，这个。
这个是粉面都有。
粉面的。
哎，对，来坐里面。
好。
现在开始了。
像我们这个爽歪歪招牌柠檬粉就比较多一点了。
哦，好的。
要配米粉、河粉还是面？
米粉。
好的，是米粉啊。
你们的面是潮汕买的吗？
对呀。
你们就是潮汕人吗？
是啊。
汕尾的。OK。
你也是吗？
我不是，我是香港来的。
汕头。
香港。
香港。
对，香港美国混血。
看你就是有点混血的那种。
对。
So for dinner, I had these chaoshan noodles. The kid in the restaurant was doing his homework and he was reading aloud, so I didn't want to talk and interrupt him. So this is kind of an after-the-fact review of the meal. Anyway, those noodles were very interesting. They had like 3 slices of lemon in it, so the broth had like a very citrusy, sour taste to it. I don't think I've ever had a Chinese noodle quite like this one. The restaurant owner said that they're from Chaoshan, so I'll trust that her noodles were authentic, although I haven't been to Chaoshan yet myself. I do plan on making a trip out there, maybe next week. Anyway, today the weather is a little bit nicer. It is very hot, but I'm about to go see a temple, which I would say is the second major attraction in this area. They call this temple the East Mountain Temple. This temple has a 600-year history, although the temple itself was rebuilt in the year 2009, so it's not quite as ancient as the fortress just nearby. Well, before I wrap up this video and head back to Hong Kong, there is a local noodle dish that I want to try. To find this dish, I am back inside the fortress walls. There's a restaurant back there that has caught my eye. So for this specific dish, I've come to Pengcheng Fan Guan, and I have ordered this massive bowl of lai fen. So lai fen refers to the specific way that these noodles are prepared. You can see compared to typical noodles, these things are short and fat. I will say the broth of the soup, it smells very, very rich. All right, let's give this a go. It's actually not too bad. They do put a lot of white pepper in it, Some people like white pepper. I'm not a huge fan of it, but regardless of the white pepper taste, I think it's very rich. It's a very nice tasting soup. All right, let's try one of these noodles. Wow, those are really fun to eat. I really like how thick the texture of these noodles are. Inside of the soup, they also have pork. They definitely have some small dried shrimps in here. Well, that just about wraps up this brief trip to Nan'ao and Dapeng. For next week's video, we'll be spending the week in Hanoi, Vietnam. So if you don't want to miss my upcoming content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. With all that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.